And so bottom line is people shouldn't apologize for who they are, should they?
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, don't keep, you know, and I stress this to the people that I come into contact with all the time. Don't get into this situation where you lie to yourself.
No.
Right?
What does that mean?
Well,
what does that mean?
There's a great book called Why We Lie, right? And really what the author talks about is he calls it subconscious self-deceit. So we get to this point where we've used the past to define who we are now when the past no longer exists, right? And so this creation that we have of who we are, this mental image of who we are, when people come into contact with us for the first time, they don't see that, right? But we've built this up in our minds, and we'll start to wear it on our body language and our shoulders and things like that. Understand that who you were has helped create who you are right now.
True.
But who you were does not dictate who you can become. And I think that that's very, very important. It's empowering to know that. All right? So simply just understand that, hey, you know what? Come to grips with who you are. Be very, very cognizant of that. And like you said, don't apologize for who you are. Just understand what that means, what the ramifications of that are.
Wow. I hate, how fast has this gone? Okay, you're dating somebody, because you also have 4 important dating tips that I want to throw out before this is over. But okay, so you're dating. Let's talk about dating and texting. Let's do. Is that what? Yes, no.
Yes.
So you think it's okay to text when you date?
Yeah, yeah. And initially I rebelled against it, right? Because I'm old school. I'm a child of the 70s. And my initial,
me too.
Yeah, my initial inclination was to say, oh, this sucks. But what you end up finding is that, you know, back in the day, you know, I remember when I didn't have a cell phone. You know, if you remember, there were, you know, pagers and things like that, and you had the phone that was connected to the cord, right? Well, in essence, you know, conversation, taking it even further, you had to way back in the day, you had to write letters to people. That's distance in communication. And really, we're seeing a resurgence of that with texting. We are, you know, you keep people at arm's length with texting and things like that, and you get what you need out, and you...
A quick fix.
Yeah, a quick fix to a situation. And what I'm starting to find for my clients, and what I'm starting to find all the way around, is that, you know, as people start to become more comfortable, what they do is then they start picking up the phone and wanting to hear the voice and starting to have, you know, call you in the morning time and things like that, and the nice loving gestures. And you start to come closer through the different technology and things like that. And I think it's, you know, use it for what it's worth.
Thank you for calling, honey. Okay, here's a question in regards to the dating and the game.
Yeah.
When do you call? When don't you call? When do you reach out? When do you tell somebody, oh, I miss you? When do you become that authentic? Do you support the game? Like, okay, he called, I'll call in 2 days. She called, I'll call in 3 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we are social creatures. As human beings, we really are. And so, you know, what you have to understand is that society's built up these, you know, these norms that we are victim to, right? And one of those is, okay, it's, you know, he's too into you. If he calls too early, it's this, it's that, it's blah, blah, blah. Really what it is, you know, understand your worth. Really, you know, once you've taken inventory of your pluses, your minuses, things like that, understand your worth, and understand that, you know, if you really are putting out that great energy, if that person really does feel that connection that you have with them, well then, you know, have a plan, make sure that you're taking the proper steps, and then understand that it takes time. Don't rush the dating process, right? And that's why a lot of people, it's like, oh, I have to call, oh, I have to do this. Don't feed into that anxiety or anything like that. Take your time.
What does that mean? What does that mean, take your time?
Well, just understand that, hey, you know what, they might not be answering the phone because they've got busy jobs, okay. Right? They might not be answering the phone because they have personal commitments and things like that. Just take your time with it. Be very methodical. Send a nice, thoughtful message, and then when they want to get back to you, let them, you know, give them that time. If they, as a man at least, if they don't reach back out to you, try again, right? She might be playing hard to get, but if you really feel that they're worth it, try again. But if they don't want to facilitate that, then understand your worth and understand when you need to walk away. There's a lot of people out there, and there are, you know, it's not about finding somebody to just say, hey, I'll marry you, right? Because most of us don't have any problems with that. Or we'll lower our expectations even more and find somebody to do that. No, it's about finding the right person for you long term. That's the most important piece. So when you understand your worth, you're not going to fool around with that person that really doesn't value your time and the energy that you put into them. You know, understand your worth and move on if you need to.
And, okay, so here's the deal. For all of you that have sent out a text and it's been a week, or 2 or 3, know your worth, and move on. That's fantastic.
It's very important.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so if you know your worth and you want to reach out and pick up the phone, it's okay to pick up the phone and say, hey, I'm thinking about you.
Yeah.
Do you believe that things happen that quickly, can fizz out too quick? Or do you believe, enjoy the mystery of, oh, I wonder what they're doing, I wonder what's happening?
Well, if it's going, you have to understand that, you know, and for those who have children and those who don't, it's a tougher analogy, but I liken it to, you used the dog analogy before, just, you know, like children and pets, if you spoil them, right, you're gonna find yourself in a situation where they take you for granted.
True.
Right? And so when you're talking about fizzling out, just understand that, hey, you know what, when you start to feel those signs, pay attention to everything. Understand that, hey, you know what, that person needs a little space right now, and I'll give that person some space. I'll get back to me. I'll get back to understanding what's very, very important, right? And then when they're ready to, you know, take part in it again, now they're reseducing you. Now they're participating in it, and they say, hey, you know what, I really value you in my life.
I like to be seduced. Okay, Brandon, real quickly, will you come back?
Yes,
please,
of course.
This is
course.
ridiculous.
I had fun.
Oh, my goodness, so did I. Please. Okay, real quickly, for those of you that have pen and paper, these are Brandon's mandatory 4 dating tips. Number 1.
Know yourself.
Number 2.
Know the person that you want to be with.
So when you say, and you told me earlier, know your type, what does that mean?
All right, so, you know, once you understand who you are
okay.
and where you're going, that's
okay.
the important piece, right?
Yes.
Not everybody can fit where you're going.
Okay.
Right? If you know you want to be the president of the United States, well, crackhead that's down the street is not going to be the right partner for you.
But they could vote for you, though.
Right? They could vote for you, yeah. Right? But just understand that, you know, if you understand where you're going, right, you have those individual goals for yourself. Don't sell yourself short. Understand that there's a very few people that will not only be able to be there with you when it's all said and done, but will actually help you get there. Okay. Those are important pieces. So when you know your type, that's the most important piece.
Number 3.
Check your baggage.
What does that mean?
There was a, you know, a couple years ago, I was in Denver, and a woman, you know, and I have this in my book, and it's funny, but it's also very sad. You know, I'm at the bar, and I'm hanging out, and she comes up and hits on me. She's very pretty, and, you know, carried herself very well. And just like we talked about earlier, I started asking her questions. And I said, you know, what makes you happiest? And she thought about it for a second, started saying it. Well, what makes you sad? What's been going on with you? She just started crying right there on the spot. And, you know, she said, I've never cried like this in public, blah, blah, blah. I was like, no, take your time. What's going on? Come to find out she was getting out of an 8-year relationship, had tons of problems because her husband was fighting it, and, you know, her children are a wreck and everything like that. When I say check your baggage, understand when you are ready to date. If you're not ready, don't do it. Surround yourself by people that love you and care about you. That's what they're there for, you know?
I love that.
Yeah, and if you know, and like I said before, just because you have that as baggage doesn't mean that it's a bad thing. Just understand what you're going through and then make sense
work through that so you can present.
And work through it. Yeah.
Last question.
The last piece is have a plan.
Okay.
Make sure that you know where you're going. You know, once you understand the type of person that you want to be with, you know, be the proper person for them. You know, take your time, observe them, ask the right questions, find out what they want in a long-term partner, right? Those are the things that are going to help you start to grow together very quickly.
Brandon, it was an absolute pleasure.
Thank you.
And you support the roses and the chocolates?
All right, yeah.
Okay.
Very much.
Okay. For all of you, please visit Brandon's website, www.brandonaki.com. And let me just say this as well, because I had Sarah do this. For the next 2 people that email me, contact@zarianforum.com, you will also get a free online ebook from Brandon that will change your dating life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you picked up something. I've got some more questions to ask. We'll see you next week. Lawrence will be sitting right next to me again. Have a great night. And pick up the phone and call somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time and remind them that they matter and you love them. Have a great night. We'll see you next time. Bye.